Well, guys, it's still not looking good. Bitcoin continues to crash and it's taking the whole market with it. But how far can Bitcoin go and why is this happening to us? Well, at the time of recording, Bitcoin is sitting down here below $92,000, and earlier today it did come down all the way to about $89,200. As I said in my last video, if this daily candle did close back here on January 9th, lower than it closed here on December 30th, then that was going to be a lower low, and it just barely did that. So unfortunately, that does confirm that we're now in a downtrend, because we've officially made a lower low here and a lower high here. So at least in the short-term time frames, unfortunately, this uptrend that we were experiencing has concluded. That doesn't mean that the bull market is over, because if you zoom out to the weekly chart, then we still haven't made a lower high or a lower low. So on longer term time frames, we are still in a bull market, but this does mean that in the short term, we could definitely continue to the downside some more, and until we actually make a higher low or a higher high again, that is probably going to be what's going to happen. According to this article on Barron's, the reason why Bitcoin, XRP, and other cryptos are falling early Monday is because of fears that the monetary easing cycle might not continue at pace this year. On Friday, cryptocurrencies were hit by a hotter than expected US jobs report, as crypto prices tend to fall when prospects of higher interest rates increase, and the job report fueled investor fears that the Federal Reserve may keep interest rates higher for longer. Crypto investors felt the pressure. As you can see, we did have 256,000 actual non-farm payrolls with an expectation of 164, which means that we came in almost 100,000 above expectations, and the previous was 212,000. So it looks like the economy is kind of heating up according to these numbers here, and they're even higher than the previous readings and way above the forecast. So all of this basically just confirms the fears that everybody had, that the Fed is going to have to actually pause in their next meeting, and they're probably not going to be doing as many interest rate cuts as people were expecting this year. And if the Fed isn't expected to continue adding liquidity to the system, then maybe that is going to have some downward pressure on Bitcoin. But I still think we're going to have to wait and see what Donald Trump has to say about this in about a week, whenever he's actually inaugurated. In the last Donald Trump presidency, we saw him and Jerome Powell fighting it out, with Donald Trump saying he wanted negative interest rates and Jerome Powell saying he didn't want to cut anymore. And for now, Jerome Powell is able to do what he wants, but I think whenever Donald Trump comes into office, actually, we're going to see a lot more pressure on the Federal Reserve, and maybe they're going to be changing their tune about what they actually expect to be doing with the interest rates moving forward through the rest of the year. For right now, though, we just have to deal with these fears, and maybe this is what's pushing down the market. And I'm sure it has something to do with it, but I think there's a couple of other things that are pushing us down. Like, for one, I think that people are expecting a buy the rumor, sell the news situation in a week whenever Donald Trump is inaugurated. But in my opinion, I think that maybe we're actually already pricing that in, because we kind of have to have a buy the rumor situation to have a sell the news situation. And we already saw that, so if this isn't the actual sell the news part of that situation, then I don't really know if it's going to actually happen, because right now we're not actually seeing people buy the rumor. So maybe this is a sell the rumor and buy the news situation, and just like what usually happens, since everybody's expecting a sell the news situation in a week, maybe this is actually going to do the opposite, and taking a contrarian bet might be a good option. Because with everybody expecting a big sell-off right after the inauguration, it might do the opposite, and it could be priced in, which could send us back to the upside. Especially if Donald Trump actually does something positive for cryptocurrency, or tries to move forward some legislation, or if he actually announces that he's going to be trying to get interest rates lower and starts to fight with Jerome early on in his presidency. I mean, really, there's so many things that he could do that's going to push us to the upside, but we're still just waiting for him to actually be in office, and that's when he can start to get things done. For now, though, anything really is just speculation, and nobody knows what's going to happen. But I do know that whatever's happening right now, and at least until the inauguration does happen, so we still have a week, none of it really matters, because things are going to be changing so much. that anything can happen, and right now markets are just moving off of what they think is going to happen. So for right now, we're kind of just stuck in purgatory and we don't know if we're going to heaven or hell. But in a week, we're going to find out. And honestly, I think that any kind of trading that happens right now is just emotional panic action. And I'm just going to be waiting to see what's actually going to happen instead of trading on a bunch of rumors and emotions. Like I said in my last video, we could still come down here to like the mid $80,000 range, maybe like 85,000 or something like that, because we still do have some support down there underneath us. And I wouldn't be surprised if we make it down there at some point this week in anticipation of what might happen after the inauguration. But as long as we don't break down below that point, I don't really think there's anything to worry about, because these kind of cool offs are really good. And like they say, it always gets dumpiest before it gets pumpiest. So having the sell off now is probably good instead of seeing it after the inauguration, because then who knows how low it could go. At least now there's a really big catalyst for us to look forward to. And honestly, the more people that say that we are going to be seeing some kind of a huge sell off right after the inauguration, the more I'm going to think that it's probably going to be the opposite. Because like Warren Buffett said, you should always be greedy when people are fearful and fearful when people are greedy. And with the RSI here getting down close to the oversold territory, it looks like people are pretty fearful. And honestly, I think that's a pretty good sign that we're probably close to the bottom of this sell-off. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you guys think that we're actually going to see a huge sell-off after the inauguration? Or do you think that this is that being priced into the market and that we're probably going to bounce from there? Either way, thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Most importantly, don't forget to do only good every day, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.